Latino, and disabled students. Causes disproportionately affected Black, 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 Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black, Latino, and disabled students, and causes disproportionately affected Black.
It should be quite beautiful as well. That's coming up tomorrow. And yeah, maybe it'll give us all some clarity and insight It's at 9:13 a.m. Ring of Fire eclipse. Got some mixed news, but important news for you when we come forward. Remember Elijah McClain, the young adult who was suffering from some mental health challenges, but not really. It was kind of mild. He's just more of an outlier in terms of his personality, who was killed by police in Aurora, Colorado. It was a case that in particular touched my heart and the hearts of many. A beautiful, creative, gentle spirit. Well, we've got some jury verdicts. We'll talk about those when we come forward, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
What's up? I'm Danelle Riley, FAMU alumni and creator of the HBCU Culture Shop. I am so proud of my new partnership with Black Beyond Measure and Target. They help me elevate community pride with my HBCU designs and continue to support Black creators and entrepreneurs with Target HBCU challenges, scholarship programs, and campus collaborations. Let's come together this homecoming season and beyond. Shop my brand and discover other Black-owned products at target.com/blackbeyondmeasure.
Moments like seeing my son's team cheer him on mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that has spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib.
Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for adults with HR-positive HER2-negative NBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
No young person should ever have to worry about having a safe place to sleep at night, or whether anyone cares about them.
But the reality is, 1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year.
For over 50 years, Covenant House has been helping youth in crisis and giving them the support and tools they need to succeed in life. To learn more, go to covenanthouse.org today. Thank you for caring.
Hey, son. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Anyone can choose to make a difference. You can help people succeed, rebuild after disasters, protect the environment, or feed the hungry. Not only will you make a difference for others, but for yourself. You can earn money for college, learn career skills, and make friendships that last a lifetime. Make a difference. Choose your future. Choose America.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Right now is the perfect time to call me. Freestyle phones are on 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. If you've been listening and you never called before, I challenge you to do so. If you're one of our usual Friday callers, love to hear from you right now, 800-920-1580. Elijah McClain is who I was talking about, a young man who died after having a neck hold put on him by an officer. 3 officers pinned him down. He was injected with ketamine, what they said was an overdose. And in this particular case, was not just the officers who were charged, but also the paramedics. Well, yesterday in Denver, Colorado, jurors convicted one police officer and acquitted another. This is an event that happened in 2019. Randy Rodema was found guilty of criminally negligent homicide and third-degree assault. The jury also found Officer Jason Rosenblatt not guilty on all of the charges. Elijah McClain's mom, of course, held her fists in the air when she left the courtroom, signaling that she was at least feeling some vindication in the conviction of one officer. This was one of those situations where there were different stories told, and then as we started to get the true picture of who Elijah McClain was and hear him on body camera saying, "I'm an introvert, I'm just different," that's when people started to notice this case, and it did become one of the many rallying cries, sadly, of the movement to reimagine policing in this country. And this is another case where the local prosecutors initially said they weren't going to bring any charges, but then they changed their mind when the governor weighed in, Jared Polis. They asked the attorney general to take a look at the case again, and they were indicted in 2021, both the officers and the paramedics, by a grand jury. Another illustration of why many times local district attorneys' offices who are in partnership with law enforcement are not the best judges of which officers deserve to be held criminally accountable for their actions, and why, as President Barack Obama's Blue Ribbon Commission pointed out, we need separate bodies, whether it be a panel of civil rights attorneys, judges, retired judges, whatever it is, to decide which law enforcement police abuse cases deserve to be prosecuted. It shouldn't be the local DAs who have to depend on those police departments for their convictions in other matters. The fact that it took the governor to step in to get these charges goes to show you that that panel, that blue ribbon panel, was correct. And we still need to implement things like that nationwide. As a result, partially of the Elijah McClain case, the state of Colorado now directs paramedics not to give this drug ketamine to anybody who they say has this thing called excited delirium, which is actually a made up, unscientific medical term for, I don't know if you want to call it talking back to police, resisting arrest, whatever it might be. It's one of those made up things, which is why they now call it controversial. They claim that people get increased strength when they're agitated. It's called being a black man in America and having stereotypes used against you to allow the more brutal means of controlling you. And so one small bit of progress here, Colorado, now eliminating this one drug against this made-up condition called excited delirium. Neither one of these cops testified at their own trial, which attorneys generally advise folks against. They blame the death on the paramedics, which is interesting. They didn't go the George Floyd route and say he was just weak or he was on drugs. They said it was the paramedics' fault, and apparently it worked for one of the officers and not the other. The assistant attorney general was saying that the cop who was acquitted, Sky Officer Rosenblatt, encouraged the paramedics to give Elijah McClain that drug and said that he had excited delirium, and that's why he should be held accountable, but a jury apparently disagreed. Again, though, it's a rare conviction and a rare bit of accountability in the space of reimagining law enforcement, which is much needed. And I think it was partly Elijah McClain's own words when he said, "I'm just different." He was pleading with these guys, look, I'm not a criminal. I'm just basically an unusual kid. And they did not listen. I think his own words moved the jury. It certainly moved me to at least get this one conviction. It's another situation that pointed out why de-escalation is so important. Had those officers been able to de-escalate, Elijah McClain would still be alive. Clearly, he wasn't a threat. You've got 3 cops and 1 slight young adult cello player who wears glasses, and yet you say he has excited delirium and superhuman strength, and use that as an excuse to murder him. At least he's had some measure of accountability here, and we will see what happens with those paramedics who are facing trial in the future. I'm not sure exactly what the date of those trials are, but they are coming up, and we'll continue the conversation about this case in particular, but also about the ways in which law enforcement does or does not de-escalate, and the ways that they deal with people who are different, whether that person is having a mental health issue, or they just have a different kind of personality, or they're having a crisis of some kind, and give fuel to activists who think that certain kinds of matters should not be handled by police at all, including traffic stops. I am among those folks. I feel that if we don't have folks that have the expertise to interact with unhoused people, to interact with mentally ill folks, then we're going to continue to see these outcomes, and of course, disproportionately so among Black people. A mild-mannered, sweet young person like Elijah McClain, had he been white, would definitely be alive. I hate making those comparisons. I hate that we still have to make those comparisons, but it's clear that is one case where it could not be clearer what a double standard we have in law enforcement, how the same training yields results that are a world away. Let's go to JW calling us from LA. Good morning. JW, you there?
How are you doing? Yes, I am. How are you doing?
I'm great. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you, too. Well, I have a number of things I would like to express, but first of all, Friday the 13th is considered a unlucky day because the Knights of Templars, the head person that was over the Knights of Templars, was hung and murdered by the Catholic priest under his authority, and they murdered him on Friday the 13th, so they consider that a day of superstition. But that's a false narrative right there, because the truth is he was killed and murdered by the Catholic order under the Pope. But they created a false narrative and made it superstition. But anyway, my main point that I wanted to express was back to the writers and any of the unions and the power of the people. If we just unite together and speak out and push back against, like, for example, if we stop, like you made a comment about binge watching, right? All these different shows, right? If the public or the community or the viewers stop binge watching and we actually start this going against, or what's the term you would call it?
Corporate overlords?
Well, no. What I was looking for was Well, yeah, well, that's what they are. They are the corporate overlords, the corporate society in terms of the movie industry, the leaders of that particular industry, as well as the people that pay their bills, which is the advertisers. But the point is, if we boycott, that's the term I was looking for. When we start watching the programs or contacting them, all these
boycott is a very
pay.
effective tool, JW. That's one of the things that we learned, if we didn't know it before then, from Dr. Martin Luther King. I feel like the boycott is one of the most underutilized means of making change, because we vote with our dollars. Because in reality, they say it's the sponsors who support, but it's really us, right? The consumers that those sponsors are trying to reach, that support and that have the power of our advertising dollars. And we had said earlier that if the strike didn't go well, at one point, folks, especially members of SAG-AFTRA, as I am, may have to start dropping our Netflix subscriptions and other subscriptions, because the issue that seems to be the biggest sticking point is streaming. And why is that an issue? Because it's the money you make after your initial paycheck, in case you're not working anymore, as they use your name, likeness, and image to continue to generate money for these huge corporations. The question is, does the actor share the profits? And the amount of profit sharing we're talking about is a very, very tiny amount. So that's the discrepancy. We got news, traffic, and sports. Continuing the conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning. Welcome to a Friday. I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The Biden administration is arranging charter flights to help Americans leave Israel as the country is at war with the Palestinian militant group Hamas. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby told reporters the administration is working to provide flights from Israel to sites in Europe for U.S. citizens and their immediate family members. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is criticizing Republican extremists as they try to get a new speaker elected. Thursday, the House Speaker designate Steve Scalise withdrew his name from consideration after it became apparent he would struggle to get 217 votes from fellow Republicans. Jeffries, who is African American, called on Republicans to get their act together and elect a speaker. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Hey, if you're thinking of getting the latest iPhone, you need to stop and check out the amazing wireless offer from Boost Infinite. For more, just pick up your phone and dial pound 250 and say Boost Infinite. That's pound 250 and Boost Infinite. You'll have the option to receive a one-time auto-dialed text message from this station.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Brooklyn Nets held a moment of silence last night before their preseason game in Brooklyn against Maccabi Ra'anana, a pro team from Israel. The moment of silence was a memorial for victims of the war between Israel and Hamas. Maccabi officials thought about canceling last night's game, but decided to play as a show of solidarity for their country. Maccabi has two other exhibition games against NBA teams on their schedule, Monday in Cleveland and Tuesday in Minnesota. Former Memphis guard Dylan "The Villain" Brooks, now with the Houston Rockets, is still getting into trouble. The NBA fined Brooks $25,000 for hitting Indiana Pacers center Daniel Theis in the groin Tuesday night. You would think he would have learned a lesson by now after doing the same thing to LeBron James in the playoffs last season. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Walk to Save Lives. Join the American Heart Association's Los Angeles Heart and Stroke Walk, Sunday, October 22nd at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. Team up with friends and family and walk to end heart and stroke. Every step you take and every dollar raised will help save lives and make our community a healthier place for all. Learn more and sign up for free at heartwalkla.org. Sponsored by Optum, UCLA Health, Providence, Keck Medicine of USC, and Dignity Health.
At City National, we listen to you.
I want to expand my business and my legacy.
I want to set up the next generation for success.
I want to see my vision come to life.
I want to feel right at home. Your goals, passions, vision, future. We want to hear it and work alongside you to achieve it. Visit cnb.com to learn more. City National Bank. Here for our clients and communities.
At Susan G. Komen, we believe that ending breast cancer needs all of us working together. Because if you've just been diagnosed and don't know where to turn, we've got you. If you can't afford the treatment you need, we've got you. And if you are driven to honor the loved one you've just lost, we have a place for you here. Because of you, we're supporting those who need help today while tirelessly searching for tomorrow's cures. Visit Komen.org and be a part of our Susan G. Komen community today.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcasts of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your beer. Follow the leader. Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Dominique DiPrima, inviting you into the conversation like I always do. 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. And also, if you haven't done so yet, please download our app. It is free. You can listen to podcasts of myself, Tavis Smiley, Zoe Williams, Robin Ayers, and more at the app. It's all free. You can also get them wherever you get your podcast. But when you download the app, you help make KBLA stronger, and we appreciate you for that. Plus, there's other features. There's news. There's something called Open Mic, where you can actually record a minute message to us, and we may play it on the air. So lots of good reasons to get that app on your phone, and you can listen to us streaming wherever we go. I was talking about streaming and why that's a sticking point. Actors don't work every day. They don't have a guaranteed job every week. They can go actually for years without a job in the industry. That's why you hear the stereotype of actors waiting tables or working DoorDash or whatever it is. And that's why, as the studios continue to profit off the work that we've done, we traditionally have always gotten a small piece of that, very small piece. You're playing my show again. It's being driven by my image, my work. And to get that one job, I had to invest miles and miles on the road, going to auditions, paying my own gas, spending my time to learn those lines, prepare for those auditions. And it's a very small percentage of them that I will actually land. So the investment that that actor has made to get that single job is enormous. And most of them aren't paid as much as you think they are. Even folks that are on recurring roles on national shows very often aren't paid at the level that you think they are. It's only 2 to 3% of actors, 2 to 3 out of every 100 that get to that level where you're making enough to be comfortable, to be able to sit through a strike and not be affected by it. So it's important you understand that. The actors are not asking for anything outrageous. And the streamers say, well, our business model isn't profitable yet. First of all, okay, maybe. But even if that's true, you know that it is profitable long term, or you wouldn't be making that investment. And after you lowball me during your startup phase or your end phase of the startup phase, then you start making zillions of dollars, you think they're going to automatically give actors a raise? The answer is no. They'll take that lowball offer that they got and ride it all the way to their multi-billion-dollar profits that they can brag about to shareholders. And I hope that the other unions continue to stand strong. I believe that they will. Writers overwhelmingly approved their deal. 99% voted yes. And we had hoped that an actors deal would follow close behind. But right now it looks like the AMTPT is going to play hardball with the actors, testing our solidarity, saying perhaps that actors are not as smart and will go for the okey doke after they release those talking points, those deal points into the media. Maybe they think actors are desperate to be on camera and will give up their rights or their future ability to pay their rent and keep their lights on just for that time to shine. I don't think so. I think it's another miscalculation on the part of the AMPTP, but we shall see. So this conversation about SAG-AFTRA, but also Kaiser Permanente having a tentative deal on the table. Looks like that strike may wrap up. It really highlights for me the struggle of Olympic champion Mary Lou Retton. She's at ICU fighting for her life. She has a rare form of pneumonia, and now we find out she has no insurance, no health insurance. Her family has started a crowdfunding campaign to cover the hospital bills on Spot Fund. This is a gold medalist from the '84 Olympics. She is a superstar. She has represented America on the world stage and been America's sweetheart, etc., etc., etc. Well, the good news is that her GoFundMe has exceeded its original goal of 50 grand, is now at 330,000. But a person can go through 330,000 in medical bills in a heartbeat, especially if you're in ICU. The bad news is, why does she need this? I've long said that I think certain athletes that don't have their own unions, i.e. boxers, gymnasts, and others, I would even include dancers in that, and some should become members of SAG-AFTRA, because if she had brought in the kind of worldwide revenue that she did as an Olympic star and star of so many gymnastics competitions that were aired on television and continue to air on television, she would have insurance and she would still be getting residuals, no matter how tiny, for those performances. But instead, you have someone at this level who has to struggle to pay her medical bills, even though she's an iconic superstar. What does that say about the average American? I feel like it is a huge argument for Medicare for all, universal health care. That's got to be the next big fight after reparations for progressives, or maybe there's simultaneous fights. We have got to have medical coverage for people. This is one of the things that bankrupts more American families. This is one of the things that pushes people into houselessness. They can't pay the bill. Your credit goes down the drain. Now you can't get into an apartment. You have a terrible credit rating. You have bill collectors hounding you because you needed medical care. That's not fitting of one of the richest countries in the world. Other countries have it. Canada has it. Germany has it. Universal health care, where health care is a right and not a privilege. We're not there yet. Mary Lou Retton's case is a terrible example of that. And it's also a good reminder of why folks unionize, why they demand certain standards for hourly wages, for schedules, for health care benefits. All of these things are the things we as workers come together to form unions in order to get. And I think one day, maybe boxers, maybe gymnasts, and others who are not covered under a union agreement can be brought under the SAG-AFTRA tent, because a lot of their content, if you want to put it that way, airs on television, and so it should be under our jurisdiction. And the thing about it is, those folks are in a similar position to actors, because we know the big names. We know the Floyd Mayweathers. We know the Mary Lou Rettons, but there's so many that compete, never reach that multi-million-dollar level, and then end up beyond their peak athletic years with no insurance, no income, living hand to mouth, in some cases unhoused. The story is remarkably common with boxers, and it's something that is a shame. It's a shame on America when we don't take care of our elderly, when we don't take care of our ill and infirm, and when we don't allow retirement with dignity for those heroes who have given us entertainment, who have represented our country on the world stage and made this U.S. American brand as powerful as it is. That is a huge contribution to our country, which often goes unrecognized and definitely goes uncompensated. Meanwhile, the grand old party, the Republicans, are trying to do just the opposite. They want to cut your food stamps. They want to cut your unemployment benefit, your Social Security, these earned benefits that have been taken out of our paychecks for decades, years, months, however long you've been working, and which we are owed because we paid money into that pot. They want to call them entitlements. Those are not entitlements. Those are earned benefits. If we pursue policies that shrink the safety net, that shrink the so-called entitlements, what we're talking about doing is expanding the tent villages. There was a powerful argument in the LA Times. It wasn't really an argument. It was just a laying out of data showing that a huge number of our unhoused population in big cities are elders who get priced out of their homes because they're retired. Once they're no longer able to work those two jobs, they can't sustain life in the city and they end up on the streets. And that's reflected with the disabled and those folks who are sick. You see people with colostomy bags on the sidewalk in big cities. Why? Because we don't have universal health care. So those folks who may be in an economic crisis because of their health situation that prevents them from working or prevents them from working if they don't have care, end up on the streets. We could stop that whole cycle if we had health care for all. Glad to see folks are stepping up to help Mary Lou Retton, but we shouldn't have to. Health care should be a right and not a privilege. It's not too late to call me, 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima, and this is KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Maisha Cairo here with a quick recap from my time at JP Morgan Chase's Advancing Black Wealth Tour. There were speakers Ian Dunlap, Damon John, Lynn Richardson, MC Light, Don Kennedy, to name a few. Take a listen to what Justin Grant, Community Development Lead at Chase's Advancing Black Pathway, let's see what he had to say.
So I'm Justin Grant. I lead community development and national partnerships for JP Morgan Chase's Advancing Black Pathway strategy. And so we're focused on strengthening the economic foundation of black communities, and we're making targeted investments in programs like the Advancing Black Wealth Tour to help us get our tools and resources out to the community to drive sustained impact over time.
So when it comes to black and brown people, it sounds like Chase is making it their personal responsibility, not only to facilitate these events, but to educate and provide resources. So Mr. Grant, I have to ask, what does wealth building look like for the individual?
It's home ownership, it's having that freedom to be able to start your own business and create jobs in your community, and it's having that long-term plan towards retirement, having that vision for what you want your life to be, and you have the resources to actually live it.
I'm Maisha Cairo. Thanks for sticking around. That was my recap from Chase's Advancing Black Wealth Tour. First stop was here in LA, and they're taking it national.
We're celebrating 1 year of the K. From checking out the vibrant art and diverse dining in Lamert Park to cheering on your favorite team in Inglewood, you can choose your own adventure when you ride the Metro K-Line. Leave the car at home and go Metro. Visit metro.net/K-Line.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
We got a blockbuster show on Monday, by the way. We'll have the chair of the California Reparations Task Force, Attorney Camila Moore, will be joining us. And Kevin Powell will be on the mic as well to talk about national issues in the news. Got some strong opinions. Should be a lively conversation. Right now, going to Carl, calling us from LA. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Dominique. Alafia. How you doing?
I'm blessed. How are you?
I'm great. Hey, are we on tactical alert over there at 77 Police Station? You know, I'm hearing that this Michael Moore, this chief of police, got everybody on tactical alert. All the sheriff deputies are on tactical alert in the black communities. I mean, you know, Taylor Swift had that nice concert over there this week, and nobody even got arrested for drunk driving over there. It just went perfectly. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Hey, but you know, Mary Lou Retting, wow, how people forget about you sometimes. You know, I guess Simone Biles might have to start some program to keep athletes on their toes, gymnastics and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because they just sent me a paper in the mail talking about they want to give me the rest of Medicare and Medi-Cal. You know, you get A, B, C, and D, and I'm missing, I think, C and D. You know, so I'm going to fill that paperwork out and send it on back. You know, I'm 67 years of age. I'll be 68 in February. So,
wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, hey, you know, I'm going to fill it out and send it on back to them and keep it rolling. You know what I'm saying? So Medicare is a plus. I mean, because I heard you talking about colostomy bags. It's a lot of sick people in downtown Los Angeles living in them tents.
Yes.
I mean, seriously. If you go down there, you'll see. But hey, look, that's an important thing, that Medicare and Medi-Cal stuff. Hey, Dominique, I got to get out of here. I'm going to chop it up with you later, okay? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for the call. It's a great point. And if you haven't filled out your paperwork yet, fill it out, because there's penalties for not enrolling in Medicare, even if you're going to delay it. I learned that while working with attorney Zoran Basic. Kwamel from Gardena, good morning.
Well, hello there, young lady. Hopefully you can hear me all right.
Hello.
Try to miles. All right. Cool. So Burlington technology can work well. Anyway, so there's a dope program going on at Dorsey High, taught by a teacher named Singleton, and it was highlighted on CBS Morning, and one of the guys pointed it out to me. By the way, it's 59th anniversary this week of the 5% Nation being founded. So happy 59th anniversary there. But anyway, man, I pointed out to one of my men about this program. Like, okay, here's how we work it in, you know, African and Black diaspora studies. And I was like, let me get thoughts on it, because I know my man to be kind of, I don't know if he truly pursues a conservative worldview, but he kind of doesn't hold the door, you know, both sides. It seems like the liberals got to be more on some foolishness. I'm like, all right, man. Okay, so here, check this out. And he kind of gives a similar take after he does a video, which is something that those kind of types do, and says like, oh, well, okay, cool, but teach all the history. Don't just be making like just anti-white. I'm like, I'm like, you're a black brother from Compton. I'm like, is there any loyalty or any kind of solidarity with your black brothers and sisters, or are you just like suddenly on this whole thing of worried about something being too woke, or where are you getting this stuff from, and why do you have these views? It basically throws me that this kind of view expression is becoming increasingly prevalent among us, and no one's looking for that benefit of the doubt. And then they're saying, hey, well, what about you progressives? Why don't you start going that way? Do you guys have similar folks where you say, okay, can I reason with this person, or are they like kind of married to being the right-leaning, contrarian type person? You know what I mean? I think it's kind of
here. I think it's profitable. It's profitable if you want more Twitter followers. It's profitable if you want to get paid more in the entertainment business, to a point. I mean, if you go too far over MAGA, no, maybe. But for the most part, especially for those in social media spaces, it's profitable. And so when I'm debating someone or talking with someone, I always think, yes, are they open to change, or are they someone that can help others be open to change just by exposing how dumb their arguments are? You feel me, Cornell? Oh, okay. So yeah, it's a great point. Sometimes even when I have folks on Talking Point Tuesdays, I'm saying, is it worth it for me to go hard against this person who's probably not going to change their point of view? And it's always a conversation about how much do you give a platform to those right-wing voices, because they've got thousands of radio stations all across the country, and we have KBLA. And so I hesitate, but at the same time, sometimes that discussion and debate will impact others, will influence others when they hear the justifications or the arguments that these folks are making for their entrenched right-wing views. They'll say, you know what, maybe I should rethink this, refine my position. And then occasionally, once in a while, you can actually sway a person, whether it just be on one particular issue or whether it might be to come over to the progressive side, because we've got cookies. I mean, I have a couple of friends that I argued with over a period of years who finally swapped sides. And at least one of those will tell you it's because of the conversations with me. And these are not on-air conversations. This is in personal life. Now, as far as on the air, you're always trying to convince the person that you're talking to, but the broader conversation is the most important one. That's the conversation with you. And that's why I always invite you in, 800-920-1580. You're always meant to be part of this conversation. That is what makes it reciprocity. What is going on with Will and Jada? Well, let me say this about Jada Pinkett Smith. She's got some great Netflix projects that you should watch while you're binging. The African Queens is spectacular. Her Cleopatra series, which started a worldwide international furor over the idea of a Black woman portraying Cleopatra, who may or may not have been, but the odds are she was. And it's hilarious to me because Hollywood is forever portraying Black people as white, indigenous people with white actors, Asian people with yellow face, but one Black woman playing Cleopatra and the Egyptian government, and everybody else is in the conversation. Good work, Jada. Really good work. And the Queen and Jingle one is spectacular. She has a book now called Worthy, and she has announced that she has been separated from her husband, 7 years? I don't want to say at a loss for words. I just wonder, is this family, is this woman a master of marketing? Because every time she has a project, she's got something viral to say. Also, when I saw the Red Table Talk with her and Will talking about the entanglement, the emotion in that conversation was on both sides was quite intense, leading me to believe that if they are separated, they haven't worked through their stuff. But it seemed like a married couple in a love triangle. That's how it came across. Are they really separated? I don't know. I have zero insider information. I wish them well. For those that say Will seems weak, I think that's a very patriarchy-based point. Will seems like a dad that's doing everything he can to do what's in the best interest of his family, even if he has to take a hit here or there. He don't have to stand up and beat his chest for you to say he's a real man. He got caught up in that trap once already, slapping Chris Rock, and it didn't work out well for him. I think he needs to do what he does, which is taking care of his own family to the best of his ability, and praying for them all. I think it's a very talented family. Certainly, they are always in the headlines, and that might not be a coincidence. Makes me wonder if there is some basis in Tupac and Jada's connection, because Tupac was also a master of marketing. News, traffic, and sports. Then where is my land? KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Good morning. Welcome to a Friday. I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The Biden administration is arranging charter flights to help Americans leave Israel as the country is at war with the Palestinian militant group Hamas. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby told reporters the administration is working to provide flights from Israel to sites in Europe for U.S. citizens and their immediate family members. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is criticizing Republican extremists as they try to get a new speaker elected. Thursday, the House Speaker designate Steve Scalise withdrew his name from consideration after it became apparent he would struggle to get 217 votes from fellow Republicans. Jeffries, who is African American, called on Republicans to get their act together and elect a speaker. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Hey, if you're thinking of getting the latest iPhone, you need to stop and check out the amazing wireless offer from Boost Infinite. For more, just pick up your phone and dial pound 250 and say Boost Infinite. That's pound 250 and Boost Infinite. You'll have the option to receive a one-time auto-dialed text message from this station.
Is this the title? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man. The Brooklyn Nets held a moment of silence last night before their preseason game in Brooklyn against Maccabi Ra'anana, a pro team from Israel. The moment of silence was a memorial for victims of the war between Israel and Hamas. Maccabi officials thought about canceling last night's game, but decided to play as a show of solidarity for their country. Maccabi has two other exhibition games against NBA teams on their schedule, Monday in Cleveland and Tuesday in Minnesota. Former Memphis guard Dylan "The Villain" Brooks, now with the Houston Rockets, is still getting into trouble. The NBA fined Brooks $25,000 for hitting Indiana Pacers center Daniel Theis in the groin Tuesday night. You would think he would have learned a lesson by now after doing the same thing to LeBron James in the playoffs last season. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black. Follow the leader. Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Hey, hey. Well, I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. Hey, hey. Said I need a dollar, 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 that's what I need. And if I share with you my story, would you share your dollar?
KBLA. Thrilled to welcome into the